Hello there, my name is Inkrose, and today I'll be talking about one of my favorite games of all time, League of Legends. In League, there are many different characters you can play as called champions. There are over 100 of these characters, each well-crafted and instantly recognizable. There are many champs that I quite like, but for this video I'll be discussing my top 12 favorites. I'll be judging on gameplay, art design, personality, and lore. First up are my honorable mentions. These go to Kalista, Soraka, and Echo. I love all these champs, but they didn't quite make the list. Now let's get started. Number 12, Azir.
Shurima, your Emperor has returned.
Azir is a really well-designed champ all around. His gameplay is interesting and unique, his lore is deep compared to most new champions, and his visual design is really good. His design is one of my absolute favorites to have come from the League art team. It just feels really well put together and distinct. His lore is also quite good, highlighted by the fantastic stained glass style video produced to promote both his announcement and the Shurima in-game event. And even though I'm absolutely horrible at playing him, I find his ability set, which consists of summoning sand soldiers to fight for him, a really cool way to convey his status as a commanding emperor. Plus, he is easily the best joke in the game. Number 11, Jace.
I fight for a brighter tomorrow.
Ever wanted a steampunk ladies' man version of Fix-It Felix? Jace is your dude. I really enjoy the whole aesthetic of steampunk in general, so you can likely expect more Piltover champs on this list. Hint, hint. Anyway, Jace has just a really fun concept to his gameplay where his hammer can switch between two forms, melee and ranged. Each has a unique set of abilities, and this lends itself to many varied ways of playing him. His design is pretty sweet too. Not my favorite, but still pretty great. And that debonair skin, dang. Number 10, Fiora.
I long for a worthy opponent.
This fancy French swordswoman makes the list not only for her fabulous design and character, but her gameplay. Fiora is insane in-game. If the enemy team does not know how to play against her, she can be the biggest pain in the neck they'll ever have. It's easy to get her fed, and she can be hard to shut down. She can have an insane amount of damage, and with her E, she shreds towers with ease if you aren't watching. She's like the Katarina of the top lane. Going back to her character design, it is simple but elegant, her slim, flowing design complementing her weapon of choice. Not to mention, her musketeer skin is one of my personal favorite skins. Number 9, Diana.
A new moon is rising.
Here we have the Luna of League of Legends. A worshipper of the moon, Diana fights against the Solari, who think of her as a heretic for praising the moon rather than the sun. They tried to kill her over this, and thus she fights against them in revenge for herself, for the moon, and for the Lunari, who are massacred by the Solari. Her design, like Fiora's, is slim and elegant, with gently curving edges and lines that convey her serious tone. Not to mention the lovely color work of her design, which is very good at conveying the mood of her character as well. Diana's gameplay is pretty elegant too. She can be a viable jungle as well as mid lane. She's not played that often right now, but if used correctly, she can be very fierce and a force to definitely be reckoned with, especially her ult, which makes her dash to an enemy champ of her choosing. And if she hits them with her Q beforehand, the cooldown of her ult is refreshed immediately. Now that is pretty scary. Number 8, Caitlyn.
Meet the long gun of the law.
See, I told you I love Piltover champs. Caitlyn is basically the female English-accented version of Sniper from TF2. She uses a sniper rifle as her main weapon and definitely has a I'm the best at what I do attitude. Kate is also the sheriff of Piltover, keeping crime down and the city safe. Kate's character design is pretty cute, but it does suffer from being a little outdated. It's a fun design that works, but I can't help but think she's ready to get a visual update. I've heard rumors that this is something that's in the works, so let's hope that's the case. When it comes to gameplay, Kate is a very good ADC. She has excellent poke, a decent escape and slow, and a trap. Her ult is nothing to laugh at either, though the fact that it's easily blocked can lead to some frustration for the player. Calm, cool, and collected, Caitlyn easily takes number 8. She also has some pretty good skins. Number 7, Shyvana.
They are nothing before me.
A champ that can turn into a fire-breathing dragon? Sign me up! Shyvana is a half-human, half-dragon woman who is allied with Demacia, mostly because Jarvan, the prince of Demacia, was the only person who took her in and didn't think of her as a monster. Even dragonkind looked upon her with disgust, one dragon even hunting down her and killing her father. It was only through the help of Jarvan that she was able to strike down her father's murderer, which led her to becoming one of Demacia's elite guard. Shyvana is a very good top laner and can also function as a great jungle. She's tanky, but can also crank out a good amount of damage, especially with her W. Her dragon form ult is really fun to use, and it makes her a very interesting champ to work with. Number 6, Quinn.
Justice takes wing.
Quinn is a champion who is technically 2 champions in one. First is Quinn herself, the crossbow-wielding ADC, and the other is Valor, her Demacian eagle who helps her out in battle in almost every way. Valor charges enemies for Quinn's Q, he scouts the area for her W, and he marks enemies for crits for Quinn's passive and E, and even comes down on the battlefield for her ult. Quinn is a champ built on a really adorable master and pet companionship, leading to a great kit. Even the lore surrounding these two is pretty adorable. A while after Quinn's brother had tragically died, she stumbled upon an injured bird in the same area where her brother had passed on. She took in the bird and nursed it back to health, naming it Valor. They eventually became an unstoppable team in the Demacian army. I just find these two really cute. And also, I love birds. Number 5, Nami.
I decide what the tide will bring.
Nami is the most adorable champion on this list, one of my absolute favorite champs. She is obviously very mermaid-inspired, but with a really neat creative twist on her design. I've always really liked mermaids, especially those like Ariel. When I was younger, I even wrote a small book about a mermaid character I had created named Aquafina Wavia. It was not very good, but still fun to write. Nami is a support champion with a varied kit. Her Q is a stun, her W a heal and an attack, and her E is a buff. Her ult a giant wave. Though I don't play her as much as I used to, she still always holds a fish-shaped place in my heart. She's adorable, well-designed, and fun to play. Oh, and her River Spirit skin is very amazing. I really like that skin a lot. Number 4, Leona.
The dawn has arrived.
While Diana was Luna, Leona is a definite Celestia. She's a member of the Solari, the group mentioned before, and devotes herself to the protection of others. As a young girl, she lived among a warrior clan called the Rakorans. She was an excellent warrior. However, when she was ordered to fight to the death with another teenager, she refused to participate. This led to her being sentenced to execution. But before her executioners laid a hand on her, a powerful blast of sunlight rendered them all unconscious. This led her to be immediately swept up by the Solari, who championed her as their Radiant Dawn. Leona is a tanky support who can be very annoying to the other team. She's hard to kill because of her shield and does a lot of harm to foes by being full of stuns and slows. Not to mention, she can pull herself to enemies with Zenith Blade. Oh, and onto her design, Leona is full of flourish and boldness, a nice complement to Diana's more reserved design. As you can see, I really enjoy Iron Stylus' work. He's the guy who designed Quinn and Valor and also participated in designing Leona, Diana, and several other champions I enjoy. And oh my gosh, her beach party skin is so pretty. Number 3, Vi.
Punch first. Ask questions while punching.
Vi is a punk girl who used to live on the streets, thieving for a living and working with a gang of other kids. After a mining incident during one of their thieving exploits, she discovered a bunch of innocent miners caught in a cave-in. She quickly swiped the robotic hands off of a mining robot and altered them for her to use as power gloves. She freed the trapped miners and quickly left the scene. Years later, after many more heists, she was approached by Caitlyn, who offered her a job as an officer to repay her debt to society. Vi gladly accepted. Now she could punch criminals in the face without repercussions. Vi's design is absolutely fantastic and really cool. Her clothing, face, hair, and fists all bursting with personality and sass. Her gameplay is super satisfying, with her Q launching her forward to collide her fist with your opponent's face, her W landing stacks to break their armor, and her E blasting them to pieces, her ult catching up to them and then dunking them like Darius. This champ is really fun to play. Also, I may or may not ship her with Jace. Number 2, Sona.
Only you can hear me, Summoner. What masterpiece shall we play today?
Sona is my main support. This musical champ is simply my favorite to play of all supports. Her kit is perfect for poking, healing, speeding away or into a fight, and even stunning. Her musical theme is well implemented as well. You can almost feel like you're using a piano when playing her. While the design of her normal skin is lovely, I've gotta say my absolute favorite rendition of her is the DJ Sona skin. It made her soar to the almost top of this list. In fact, DJ Sona is just fantastic. Her 3 different modes that each play different music are great, the design of each one reflecting the mood and style of the music. Her visual effects are stunning, and her voice is a really cool idea that meshes well with the music. DJ Sona is definitely my favorite skin in League. I actually drew it here. Number 1, Jinx.
Rules are made to be broken. Like buildings. Or people.
Oh man, Jinx is by far my favorite champ. It was because of her music video that I really got into League of Legends, and she was the first champ I wanted to play. I mean, I obviously couldn't play her right off of the bat, that honor went to Annie, but once I had finally saved up enough IP for her, that was a really happy moment for me. Her gameplay as an ADC is rather easy to get a hold of. She can switch between a fast-hitting minigun or a slow but more powerful and ranged rocket launcher for her Q. Her W is a skill shot that zaps lightning, her E lays down traps for unsuspecting enemies, and her ult launches a super mega death rocket that can fly across the whole map. She's enjoyably insane and funny too, and her design is very good as well. Jinx easily makes my number 1.